In this video, we're going to be going over patents, trademarks, and copyrights. So by the end of the video, you're going to know exactly how all three of these things work and how you can implement them into your business. So before we talk about any of these things, you first need to know why they are so important and what will happen if you don't look into these things. So basically, these are going to keep you from getting sued and protect you from possibly getting your FBA listing removed, which would be the worst case scenario. So it's extremely important that you do check for copyrights, trademarks, or patents when you're about to start a new product, or you're about to create a brand name or a seller name, or if you want to use pictures that aren't yours. Because if you don't end up searching for these things before you get started, if the owner of that copyright or the owner of that trademark or the owner of that patent finds out that you're using their property, they can sue you or have your listing removed, which would not be a fun situation for anyone involved. So we're going to do everything we can to teach you how to avoid that situation from even happening. So first, we're going to start with patents and the two different types of patents that you will come across. The first one is going to be a utility patent, and the second one is going to be a design patent. So first off, a utility patent is going to protect the functionality of a product. So if it functions or works in a certain way, it's going to protect anyone from stealing that patent. And then a design patent is going to protect the design of a product. So how it physically looks or appears, that is going to be protected under a design patent. Most products don't have any patents, and a lot of patents are expired for certain designs or functionalities. So this is why you need to look into it to make sure that your product that you're potentially about to start doesn't have an active design patent or an active utility patent. So for example, let's say we have a whiteboard marker right here, and this is made by a company called Expo, and Expo can have a utility patent on this marker or a design patent on this whiteboard marker. And it is really important that if we want to sell a whiteboard marker, we would want to dig into this product further to make sure it doesn't have any active design patents or utility patents. That way we're not infringing on anyone's patents. And Expo can potentially have a utility patent that would protect the functionality of this new Expo whiteboard marker. Let's say it has a longer lasting ink cartridge that is patented through a utility patent. Then we would not be able to copy that same design because that is their patented functionality of their new marker. Let's say Expo has a design patent that protects the shape of this marker. That would mean that we are not allowed to sell a whiteboard marker that is in the same shape of this Expo whiteboard marker, because then we would be infringing on their design patent. Now that's a very basic and generalized example, so make sure you consult with a lawyer or an attorney or some sort of legal professional to help you with guidance on this, to make sure that you are really knowing what you're doing, because sometimes when you look into patents and trademarks and copyrights, it can be extremely confusing. Now, one more thing before we get back into the video, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you do so now. And also, if you guys are interested in having me teach you how to personally run and start your own Amazon FBA business, then go ahead and go down to the description and check out the first link. That is going to be a link to my website where you can check out my course and mentorship. And in my course, it teaches you how to start an Amazon FBA business from start to finish. And also you get help from me directly one-on-one, where I can help you and coach you through the entire process. Now that's pretty much it. Make sure you check that link out, and let's continue the video. Now, a utility patent is going to be extremely hard to get. So if you wanted to go and try to apply for a utility patent for some sort of new thing that you invented, 90% of the applications who try to get a utility patent are rejected. And that's because they only accept people who have something extremely specific, because they don't want to restrict or limit a market if you don't have a really specific new invention. So most likely you will never get a utility patent, but you also want to make sure that you are not infringing on anyone else's, because someone could have one. Now, as for a design patent, this is going to be the one that we are more careful about, because a lot of design patents are granted. They are much easier to get than a utility patent, and you could even potentially get one yourself if you have a certain design of something that you don't want anyone to copy. So it's really important that you make sure that you are not infringing on anyone's design patent. Now, a good example of this would be any really big companies. Usually they have a lot of active design patents and even utility patents, and the number one would be Apple. So Apple patents every product they have with a design patent, so you're not able to copy the look of any of their products. That's why you don't ever see computers or phones that look similar to an Apple iPhone or a Apple computer, or even the Apple Watch. I'm wearing one right now. So you're not going to see any that look like these, and if you do, they're probably infringing on Apple's design patent. And Apple also has a lot of utility patents because they're a technology company and they're always innovating and coming out with new technologies that they can put a utility patent on because they're extremely specific, such as the Face ID on your iPhone or the fingerprint scanner on your old iPhone. Those things would be protected under a utility patent because Apple kind of invented them and made them really affordable and available to the masses. So there are 3 different ways that I would recommend to you as to how you can check if a product has an active patent or not. The first one's going to be googlepatents.com. This will be in the resources for you as always, and there's also another website called uspto.gov. This is going to be the United States Patent and Trademark Office. So that's actually the official government website for filing for patents and trademarks. So that's going to be the ultimate place where you can check for a patent or a trademark, but Google Patents also works really well too. So my personal favorite way to do this would be to go on Fiverr.com and hire someone who does this for a living. So you can go on Fiverr.com and pay someone $5 to $20 to do a patent check for you or a trademark search for you, and then they will give you the results right after they're finished. And it usually only takes a few hours up to a few days to get this done. So for example, you're probably not a legal expert, so I would personally prefer to have someone do this for me who is an expert in it and does it for a living. That's why it's personally my favorite thing to outsource this work to someone who does it all the time. And even better is it's really cheap for us to do this. It's usually $5 to $25, which is not really that much money, especially because it will protect you in the long run from getting sued or getting your listing removed, which would be a $1,000 or multi-$1,000 mistake. Also remember, you cannot put on your listing that your product is patented if it is not patented. That is extremely illegal. So make sure you do not put anywhere on your listing that your product is patented to keep other people away from it, because that will get you into some big trouble. So now we're going to move on to trademarks. And now trademarks are going to be the more common thing that you're going to come across. Most likely patents are going to be more of a rare occasion. If you find a patent on a product, that's more of a rare thing. Trademarks are everywhere, and a lot of different names are trademarked, a lot of different logos are trademarked. So it's really important that you do a trademark check as well. You can also do this on the uspto.gov website, or you can do it my personal favorite way, which would be also on Fiverr. All you have to do is search on Fiverr and put patent search or trademark search, and then look at the top listings, find out which person has the best reviews, and then hire them to do it for you. So now as for a trademark, it's going to be anything like a logo or a name or even a phrase or multiple words together. So once again, as an Apple product, their Apple logo is definitely trademarked. You cannot have an Apple logo even similar to that. Even if you take the bite mark out of the Apple, it is still going to be illegal to copy that and put it on your product. So you want to make sure that you're not even getting relatively close to infringing on anyone's trademark. You want to make sure your logo or your name, your brand name, your seller name, you want to make sure it's really unique. Also remember, from country to country things vary, so make sure to consult a legal professional once again for your specific country, because I'm speaking mainly on the US right now, in the United States. If you're trying to sell in Canada or the UK, you guys might have a little bit different of laws there when it comes to patents and trademarks. So it's really important that you research how it is in your country, or you consult with a professional that specializes in your country. Now, the cool thing about creating a business is you have something called a common law trademark, and that means you are automatically protected whenever you create your business or your logo, even if you don't have a trademark. So let's say tomorrow I wanted to create a new Amazon store business and I named it Superior Amazon Seller. The moment I create that store and the moment I come up with that logo and start selling, I am now protected under a common law trademark, meaning no one is allowed to copy my name, which would be Superior Amazon Seller, and no one would be able to copy my logo as well, even if I don't have a trademark. So getting a trademark is just like the next step of being even more professional, but really you don't need one because we are all protected under common law trademarks. And let's just say someone tried to sell on Amazon with my same brand name and copying my logo. I could then sue them or report them to Amazon, claiming that I've owned that brand name, even though I don't have a trademark, that I've owned that brand name since whatever date I started, and then they would be infringing on my common law trademark. But once again, having a real trademark in place is going to be even more protection and way easier to get that other person removed. Now, one way to obviously know if a brand name or a logo is trademarked is you will see that TM logo right next to it. Now, this doesn't always have to happen. This is only optional. Some companies do it, some brands do it, some logos have it, but not all of them do. So don't use that as your only factor to decide whether they have a trademark or not. Make sure you actually do more research instead of just looking for that TM logo. Also, another cool thing that you can do to protect yourself is even if you don't have a registered trademark, you can still use that TM logo next to your own logo or your own brand name to protect yourself as well, or to scare off anyone who's attempting to take your brand name or logo. Now, another symbol that you may have seen next to someone's brand name or their logo is that R symbol. And the R symbol means they have a real registered trademark for that logo or that brand name. And make sure that you don't put this R symbol next to your brand name or logo if you don't have a real registered trademark. So let's go over this one more time. It is okay to use the TM symbol even if you don't have a trademark, but it is not okay to use the R symbol if you don't have a trademark. Now, if you do have a real trademark, then you can use the TM logo or the R logo, and it really doesn't matter. But most of you probably won't start with a trademark, so it's totally okay for you to use the TM symbol next to your logo or next to your brand name, just not the R symbol. So a common question I get asked is people ask me if they can sell a certain t-shirt or maybe a stuffed animal that is shaped like a superhero or has a superhero logo on it, maybe Superman or Batman. No, it is not okay for you to use those logos or anything even relatively similar to those logos, because the company or person who owns Superman or Batman, they own the rights to that, and you have to be licensed by them and given permission by them to sell a product with that logo or even similar to that logo. So the main goal of all of this is to make sure that you are not infringing on anyone else's property, and you don't even want to get relatively close to infringing on anyone's property, because that is problems, and we do not want problems at all. This also means in your bullet points, description, or in your title, you don't want to have anything that would be trademarked. So make sure you read through your description, your bullet points, and your title to make sure that there is no trademark infringing words. Now, the very last thing that we have to talk about is going to be copyrights, and the reason we need to talk about this, you're going to be posting pictures on your listing, and pictures could be infringing on someone's copyright. So you want to make sure that you own the pictures that you're posting. You want to make sure that you hired your own photographer or you took the pictures yourself. That way you know that they are your property. You don't want to go on Google and search for something and take something off Google and then put it onto your listing, because that is not your property, and then that person can come after you for a copyright infringement. So it's super important that you hire someone to do your own photography. And some people get their product shots from their suppliers. Just make sure that your supplier owns the rights to it. You can ask them this. Don't just assume that they own the photos that they're giving to you, because remember, they live in China and they probably don't care if you get sued or not. That's not their problem. And honestly, I personally wouldn't even recommend doing that either. I would just recommend that you do your own photography or you hire someone to do it for you. Now, even if you go on Google and take a picture and then modify it yourself, you are still infringing on that person's copyright, because you're taking their picture and changing it, and it's still their picture. Now, there are other things that are protected under copyright, such as literature like poems or music or even art. So also make sure you're not infringing on any of those. But the main thing that we don't want to infringe on for an Amazon FBA business would be the photography. Now, just like I talked about the common law trademark, there is also common law copyright. So the moment you take a picture or create some piece of art, that is automatically protected under a copyright. Now, another symbol that you may have seen on a package or a book or maybe some sort of picture is the C symbol. Now, you can also use this yourself on your own packaging, or even an instruction manual if you have one, or on a product insert. Just make sure you don't put the C symbol anywhere on your listing, because Amazon doesn't like any symbols or watermarks on your product images. So now that's pretty much how all three things work and how you can implement them into your own Amazon FBA business. Now let's just wrap it all up really quickly, because I know that was a lot to cover. Basically, what you want to do is you want to develop your own logo, you want to develop your own brand name, you want to make sure that your logo, seller name, or brand name is not infringing on anyone's trademarks. And if they are not, then you would probably even want to get them trademarked yourself. This can take anywhere from 6 to 10 months, so it's kind of a long process. And also with patents as well, those take quite a long time. I kind of wouldn't recommend any of you start a patent anytime soon. We just want to make sure that we're not infringing on anyone else's patent. That's what's most important about patents. And And lastly, it's important that you create your own product images. That way you're not infringing on anyone's copyright as well. And remember, you can search all these things on either the uspto.gov website, or you can do it on googlepatents.com, or you could do it my favorite way on Fiverr and have someone do it for you. So that's going to be it in this video. I will see you in the next one.